Strength and Dexterity hybrid build is one of those builds in Elden Ring that many people just simply do not seem to believe in, because why give yourself the headache and not just go for a pure strength or a pure dexterity build? They're both physical damage related stats, right? Well, the Vagabond is here to answer that question for you and is the living proof that strength and dexterity combined works well, very well even. Add to that the setup the Vagabond uses might not only be the best strength and dexterity setup in the game, it may even be nominated for the best setup in the game in general. The Vagabond is not just defined by his hybrid nature of having strength and dexterity at the same time though. The Vagabond is also known for being extremely tanky and having everlasting sustain, and that's needed because the world turned on the Vagabond. The Vagabond was exiled from his homeland and ever since has been alone in the world, giving a necessity to survive completely independently. Some people may call the Vagabond an outcast, a loner, the lowest of the lowest that is not even wanted in his own homeland and therefore is said to just be a failure in this world. Almost an analogy for how strength and dexterity hybrid builds may set up to be a failure built in Elden Ring as well, but every story has two sides. People who can look beyond the shallow social constructions that society sets upon us and see with their own eyes what the Vagabond is truly capable of, will quickly come to the realization that the Vagabond is a self-made powerhouse and doesn't need anyone to succeed in the world. See, the Vagabond is the definition of a juggernaut, because the Vagabond destroys everything and everyone that dares to challenge him with his insane weapon and combat skills, while having so much tenacity, sustain and tankiness at the same time, making it impossible for the Vagabond to ever die in combat. This is my Get OP early guide for the Vagabond and the most powerful strength and dexterity build in Elden Ring. Wait, what is this? What are you doing in my video? Go away!
Hey, what about my world?
What's wrong with it? You look like you came out of some childish game.
That is not true. Hero Wars has vibrant graphics, cool gameplay, and a user-friendly interface.
Okay, let's check it out then.
Tell them more about it.
Okay, so all jokes aside, thanks to Hero Wars for sponsoring today's video. Hero Wars provides you with a lot of different characters that you can play with. You name it, cyborgs, aliens, vampires, and yes, even furries. Now, I have not unlocked a lot of characters yet, but I did unlock Chaba, and Chaba is a fun tank type of hero that destroys his opponents quickly. Celeste, however, is the real S tier hero. She can switch between a DPS dark form and a healer light form, which makes her useful in any situation, as you can see. And yes, there's also this sexy outfit that drops with her. There's really no equal to Hero Wars, and it is a pretty addicting game. You will play it everywhere you go basically. It is very easy to start playing it. At the same time, it is a fun challenge to assemble a perfect team of heroes. For example, Mojo the Shaman can't heal Darkstar the Elf as efficiently as the good Grandma Martha can, while the Slow Cleaver makes a great pair with the Swift Isaac. Now, Hero Wars is a world of 6 unique modes, more than 300 Guild Wars servers and 100 million players. You can play alone or see who among you and your friends is the top dog. And finally, ask yourself, where do you get 30,000 coins, 600 emeralds and 5 awesome heroes to start dominating in Hero Wars right away? Well, the answer is in the link in the description below. I got you covered. Don't forget to check it out. Now, when you choose the Vagabond as your starting class, you'll see that thematically and functionally it is the class for a strength and dexterity hybrid build, as they are the Vagabond's highest damaging stats. This is also known as a quality build. Quality being a fancy way to say that you scale your damage output through both the physical damage related stats in the game, namely strength and dexterity at the same time. At the same time, it's also the class with the highest starting points in vigor in Elden Ring, setting up nicely for the tanky side of the Vagabond and thematically giving us a reason to make our Vagabond a juggernaut type of build. All things considered, the Vagabond has one of the best starting stat distributions in the game, and that is nice obviously. The equipment you get as the Vagabond isn't bad at all either. You get a shield and 2 weapons. Your longsword reflects your dexterous side, while the halberd shows the strength side of the Vagabond and that he's capable of operating heavier weapons. The Ashes of Wars that come on these weapons are fun as well to use, and they are definitely decent for killing stuff. But nice and decent, just don't cut it for the Vagabond. After 10 minutes of playing around with this kit stuff, we want to start working on the most powerful Vagabond, the best and most powerful Strength and Dexterity build. We want OP, amazing, extraordinary, exceptional, you name it. So that's exactly what we're going to make right now, and you can safely throw away the starting equipment. No need for that stuff anymore. Now before you continue, make sure to give the video a like and hit that subscribe button if you still haven't done so yet. I know you want to. Make sure to hit those buttons. Now let's do the general get OP early basics to give us a great start regardless of our build. For this, go to the gate front side of Grace to get your mount from Melina. And after getting the mount, we can now finally move around with some pace. Then go to the second caravan down the road from where you just spoke Melina. In this caravan there will be a chest at the back side. Loot it and you will get the flail. Furthermore, you want to get a golden pickled fowl food. You can get one quite close to the starting area right here in Limgrave. After doing so, go to the third Church of America, pick up the goodies that are laying around here for you to pick up, and then go beyond the church and take the teleport. This will teleport you to exactly here on the map, and you want to go south till you reach Fort Ferret. That's this spot on the map. Ignore all the enemies on the route to the fort, no matter how big they are. And when you arrive at Fort Ferret, you want to pick up a very nice talisman. You want to ignore all the bats while you're running inside and move towards the ladder. Just run, climb up, and then pick up the Dactus medallion. This is very important, so don't forget to do that. Then keep moving till you get to the second gap and jump down. Move to the right of yours, pick up the golden rune that's laying around there, and then jump to the sneaky pathway to your right. Keep moving till you can jump down again, and there will be the Radagon Soreseal. If you're not familiar with this talisman, it's a very good talisman that will help us out because it provides a lot of relevant stats right at the start of the game. Now the Radagon Soreseal is especially good for the Vagabond as every single point is relevant for us and it boosts both our damaging stats. After putting on the talisman, go outside and kill Grail with your flail. Spin the thing like there is no tomorrow. To make it as easy and fast as possible to kill this dragon. The flail has built-in bleed, so you can just spin around and wait for those bleed procs to make quick work of the dragon. Make sure to pop the golden pickled fowl food before the dragon dies, and also pop the golden rune that you picked up inside the fort. After all of that, you'll be rich as f in runes and can get to level 36 at the very least. So you want to spend your runes something like this, actually exactly like this. You'll see why we invest a few points into Fate and Arcane in a Strength and Dexterity build in a second, but trust me, it is worth it. You also want to spend quite some points into Vigor to really become tanky, and the points into Strength and Dexterity are to meet the requirements of the weapon that we're going to use, even if we decide to swap out the Radagon Soreseal at some point. Now after this, for the next 12 levels, just spend all your points into Vigor to reach its first soft cap. This is to really make us tanky early on and give us so much survivability, it is going to be insane. Now don't worry about damage because you will see in a second that we will have a lot of damage. One could almost say too much damage. After that, get from 48 to 60, get 5 points into mind and like 7 points into endurance. This gives us a lot more comfort in regards to attacking because we now have a bit more stamina and we also have a lot more mind, so we can use our Ash of War with a lot more comfort. At that point in the game, you will also have a higher equip load, so you can start thinking about upgrading your gear as well. Now after this point, you will just want to put points in both Strength and Dexterity, but you will want to prioritize Dexterity first because the weapon that we're going to use has slightly higher scaling with Dexterity. To be precise, Dexterity scales 1.46341463415 harder than Strength for the weapon that we're going to use, and I know you wanted to know the exact number and that this is totally not a useless fact, so there you go. You'll also want to consistently put points into Vigor and Endurance all the way till you reach level 125 basically. Make sure to not go over the soft cap of Vigor though, but I will go in depth about the late game stats in the follow-up video where we discuss the late game hybrid Strength and Dexterity build and character, but for now you have the guidelines to build your character and progress through the game. Now we want to do a few more things. First of all, go to the roundtable hall to do some shopping, talk to the creepy NPC that is lurking in the shadows, and buy the finger seal. Then after that, talk to the intoxicated monk that will start saying random nonsense to you when you speak to him, and buy everything. If you don't have the runes yet to do so, then ask yourself how did you become so poor so quickly, and then afterwards buy the flame sling spell for now and buy the rest at the later time. Then after that you want to go to Lernia, just bypass Stormville like this to get there, and then go to this area near the rocky structure. There will be a scarab roaming in that area, kill it, and you will get an awesome incantation that goes by the name of Bloodflame Blade. This is the main reason we spend points into Arcane and Fate, and I will show you in a second why this incantation is so good. But first we want to pick up the trophy of the build. And there are these theories out there that say that the weapon that we're going to pick up is actually an endgame weapon that was accidentally placed in Limgrave. Believe it or not, that's how good it is. And it's even crazier that the weapon is pretty much located near the starting area. Now you want to exactly go to this spot and enter the area. Now to get the weapon that we actually want to use, we have to defeat this guy. And for this fight, I would suggest to coat your flail with the Bloodflame Blade buff and just start smacking the shit out of the boss the second he spawns in for a quick kill. This is known as the brute force strategy and it works really well against this guy. If you otherwise struggle with him, make sure to use the flame sling from a range and you'll have an easier time like that finishing him off. After killing this boss, you will be rewarded with the Bloodhound Fang. Also known as Mr. Steal Your Girl, the endgame weapon that was accidentally put in Limgrave, the weapon that can do it all. And I'm not exaggerating because Bloodhound Fang is an absolute monster. It has the power and brutality of a strength weapon while having the speed and smoothness of a dexterity weapon. And as it scales through both strength and dexterity, it doesn't only feel as the ultimate strength and dexterity weapon, it is the ultimate strength and dexterity weapon. Especially if you consider that you can actually pick it up within 10 minutes of starting a new playthrough. Now Bloodhound Fang has a really nice moveset. It's fast, it has a good reach, and it does a lot of damage. Don't blink while using the weapon or you will miss out on your own fights. It feels really satisfying to just erase the existence of your enemies with this sword. Now it also has the most OP status effect in the game on it, Bleed, and after a few hits it will proc blood loss on your enemies and deal massive damage that way, in addition to the massive damage it already deals just through sheer force and physical brutality. The weapon also has a secret damage modifier that not a lot of people know about, because if you jump and use a normal or charged attack, your attacks will deal plus 10% extra damage. Then we have the Ash of War as well, which is a beast in itself. It is a pretty wide AoE type of slash that obliterates your enemies, and then with the momentum of the sword swing, you launch yourself backwards, creating distance between you and your enemies, which is a very nice addition because you prevent incoming attacks like that, and it makes it really easy to hit your opponents while in melee range without getting hit yourself. This Ash of War has an additional component as well that many people do not know about, and that's if you finish the initial attack, you can press the charged attack button to then teleport forwards and strike your opponents with another extremely hard-hitting attack. So all in all, the Ash of War consists out of two parts that you can utilize very well in many different situations. And you also get iframes when you teleport, which is nice for dodging incoming attacks obviously. You can also, for example, hit an enemy with the first part of the Ash of War, kill it like that, then switch targets and kill another enemy with the second part of the Ash of War. It really makes up for a very cool and fun playstyle. Now if you thought that was all, no, there's even more to this weapon. Even though it's a unique weapon requiring somber smithing stones to upgrade with multiple scaling attributes and an unique Ash of War, and thus normally these types of weapons wouldn't be able to be buffed with stuff like magic and incantations, the Bloodhound Fang simply doesn't care and actually defies the rules of the game, because you can buff it with greases, enchant it with different types of magic, and buff it with different types of incantations like the Bloodflame Blade. And now you know the reason why we picked up the Bloodflame Blade incantation. Coating your Bloodhound Fang with Bloodflame Blade not only makes it look badass beyond belief, it also makes it even more dangerous. Your Bloodhound Fang will now also deal a good bit of fire damage in addition to its physical damage every time you strike your opponents. But even better, it applies a good amount of bleed over time on your enemies, and this is a critical factor. What that really means is you will proc bleed on your enemies much faster and much more reliable, and applying this buff on the Bloodhound Fang absolutely shreds. Now you have a really nice weapon and a really nice buff that you can completely destroy the game. But you can also upgrade the Bloodhound Fang to a nice level quite early on, even though in its most unupgraded form it's already really OP. So if you want to make it even more OP, make sure to go to EG in Lernia on the road to Caria Manor. He's next to the road to the Manor of Grace. Talk to him and you can buy Somber Smithing Stone 1 all the way to 4. Buy them and then just upgrade your Bloodhound Fang at him at the same time as well. And now you'll have a +4 Bloodhound Fang. Then go back to Limgrave, go to the Dragonburnt Runes and take the teleporter chest right there. You will teleport to the Sea Crystal Tunnel and you want to go outside of it. Go outside of the tunnel, mount up and basically keep moving forward while hugging the right side of this area till you get to exactly this opening. Go to the right here and make your way to the end of the path where you will find the Somber Smithing Stone number 5. There is also a Somber Smithing Stone number 6 in the Celia Crystal Tunnel itself. You'll have to progress and move up and down various times. Ignore or kill off all the annoying ass enemies in this cave, whatever you want to do, but just keep progressing till you get to the boss in this room exactly. Defeat the boss in the tunnel. Using Bloodhound Finesse, you should make quick work of this beast, and afterwards you will have a Somber Smithing Stone number 6. And now you can upgrade your Bloodhound Fang all the way till +6. Now a few more things, because due to all the excitement I actually forgot to use the flask of Wondrous Physick for this video. If you paid attention, you would see the flask wasn't even picked up at any time, nor was it even in my inventory. But picking up the flask of Wondrous Physick and then mixing it with both the Dexterity and Strength Not Crystal Tier will give you a whopping +20 in relevant stats from your flask as well. And this is one of the few builds where you can actually get that many points in relevant stats just from your flask. Doing that is very nice and will obviously make you even more OP than what you just saw. And you can get both of these crystal tiers at the very start of the game. Now if you want a more defensive flask, then I would recommend picking up the Crimson Burst crystal tier in the Weeping Peninsula and the Opaline Heart tier in Caelid, which after patch 1.6 now also increases your physical damage negation. And that is also a very nice option for the flask. Whichever type of flask you want to run, you can't go wrong either way. But as you see, I didn't even pick up a flask myself and the build already slaps very hard. Now, since we have 12 Fate, we can also run a good selection of defensive incantations to help out with our defensive and tanky side. As I showed you earlier, you could already buy a good selection from the monk. Incantations like Magic Fortification and Flame Fortification to defend against magic and fire damage respectively can situationally be very nice. And you can also heal yourself as well, because we have the requirements to run those types of incantations as well. Even though most of the time you will already have destroyed whatever you're fighting before ever needing to heal. But it's an option as well. Most importantly, you can also run incantations like Cure Poison and Flame Cleanse Me to cure yourself from things like poison, scarlet rot, or even frostbite in the case of Flame Cleanse Me, even though it's not specified in the description. If you want to know more about that trick, watch my 500 IQ Elden Ring tips and tricks video. But with those types of incantations in the roster as like an additional option, the Vagabond really has the tools to take on any situation and remove certain annoying status effects that certain enemies or certain areas apply on you very easy. Now, we're just missing one thing though before we end the video, something that would truly fit the Vagabond very well. For this, go ahead and kill Margit first. It should be a quick fight with everything considered. After doing so, you will get another talisman pouch. After that, you can enter Stormville and do whatever you want there. But make sure before you start fighting Godric, the final boss in this place, to talk to Nephili Lux, which will be in Stormville, and with some back and forth interacting with this NPC, you will ultimately get the Arsenal Charm. With the Arsenal Charm, your equip load will now become much higher, which is nice because we want to pick up a really nice shield to complement this build. Now for this, you want to go back to the Gatefront Grace where you picked up your mount, and then you want to start farming the guards with the Doritos shields specifically, because every once in a while one of these guards will be kind enough to let you be able to loot their body after you murdered them and give you the brass shield. Now the brass shield is an amazing shield in the early and mid game. It's basically the best shield all the way till you reach the capital. It has 100% physical guarded damage negation, meaning when you block physical attacks like slash, pierce or strike attacks, you will not receive any damage. And at the same time, it has the highest guard boost out of all the medium shields in the game, meaning you will lose, relatively speaking, the least amount of stamina when you're blocking attacks with this shield compared to other shields. All of that, and it doesn't weigh too much for a shield, so we can actually use it very early on without entering heavy load territory. And the brass shield is really that good. It even compares with great shields, which are like twice the weight of the brass shield. And it's a shield you can get within 2 minutes of starting a new playthrough. Obviously, make sure to put the shield in your offhand together with the seal, so we can make use of either our shield or our seal and incantations at any time, depending on the situation. The Vagabond has good starting gear. It's actually the gear with the highest defensive stats out of all the starting classes, so we'll address gear in the follow-up video when we actually need an upgrade. Now you'll have the best strength and dexterity weapon that you can get at the start of the game, in combination with the best defensive tools like our brass shield, making you combat ready for everything and everyone. Nothing can possibly stop you now. But this video will also have a follow-up though, where the Vagabond gets a twist and becomes a different character based on things that unlock in the later parts of the game. For now, you have the strongest possible strength and dexterity build that you can make at the start of the game, that also has a lot of variety in it as well, and every aspect of combat covered, which makes it so much fun, and you can now just destroy everything in the game with Bloodhound Fang and my setup that comes with it, and just beat the entire game like that. However, definitely stay tuned for the follow-up video and make sure to watch that one as well, you really don't want to miss it. Don't forget to give the video a like, subscribe and hit the bell thing so you're the first to get notified when I upload something, and let me know your thoughts in the comments.